Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here and welcome to BBallBreakdown. Before we talk about the Warriors losing their streak, I want to tell you about my friends over at Game Time who've created an amazing app to help you buy tickets to sporting events. And the coolest thing is that you can get a picture of the vantage point right from the seat so you know exactly what it looks like when you buy those tickets. Great prices. You can store your credit card. One touch buys a ticket. They send it right to the app. You don't have to get any printing out or go to the box office. You get right in the arena with it. And you can buy tickets after the game starts. And if you use my code COACH, you'll get $10 off your first purchase. Definitely worthwhile, so check it out. Well, now let's talk about how the Warriors lost their streak, which was a record-setting opening to a season, and it was quite amazing. And it wasn't just the Bucks doing it, because you can ask yourself, how does a team with a losing record beat a team so good? Well, it's really a lot of the other teams contributing to this, and certainly the Celtics deserve as much credit as anybody for taking them to double overtime and really having a couple of really good shots to win the game, tiring Steph Curry out to no end like we're going to show you, and then also having to play back-to-back on the road. Almost an impossible task to say the least, even if you didn't play a double overtime game the first night. So I want to talk also a little bit about the notion of playing Steph Curry and Draymond Green together. And when they're off the court, the Warriors clearly suffer. And teams are taking advantage of that happening when they have those two guys resting at the same time. So Luke Walton and Steve Kerr might have to take a look at this and figure out if they can stagger it a little bit better, because it's about 15 or 16 minutes a game. And these are the runs that are deciding the game and making it a lot difficult. Because in the Celtics game, if they could have just pulled away without those two guys on, then they get some rest, they win in regulation, it's not a problem. But when the Celtics, and then the Bucks even worse, took advantage of that lineup, it was really difficult for the Warriors to overcome, as it is probably for most teams. So we're going to show you from both those games some key plays and how they both managed to make it work. Let's start by looking at the Celtics' 11-1 run to start the fourth. Notice how neither Steph nor Draymond are in the game, but with a 7-point lead, Luke Walton has some leeway. Problem is, they have James Michael McAdoo, who is leading the team in the dubious distinction of worst net rating. And he gets right into the act, overhelping when Ezeli was in good position on his man. That opens up a good look for Olynyk, who was already having a career night. After some serious defense by Avery Bradley gets the offense out of sorts, they still have plenty of time left, but McAdoo thinks he needs to ISO to get his shot off, and this one was plain old ugly. The Celtics run pistol action with Olynyk setting the screen and Lee dribble pitching to Bradley. This forces Ezeli to help on Bradley for a second, and while it's subtle, you'll see how it allows Lee to get right to a good mid-post position, easy catch, and face up off the glass. The Celtics run pinch post on the right side before getting similar pistol action with those three guys on the left side again. This time, Lee slides along the lane line where the opening is, Ezeli does a poor closeout overrunning the man, and Lee gets a layup. Without Curry or Dre in there, Iguodala is the guy in charge of initiating the offense. With only 14 seconds on the clock, the Warriors would have been wise to get him involved in an action with Livingston. Instead, it's a pick and roll with poor spacing on the weak side, and James Young fights through and forces the air ball. And this leads to an Olynyk run out. Watch how he really sprints down the floor, leaving Spates in his dust, and just a perfect pass from Evan Turner for the sweet finish off the glass. The Celtics have been wearing Steph down with their defense on him, keeping a man attached to his hip and harassing his shots. Without question, there was a direct correlation between this and his turnover struggles down the stretch. These were all so uncharacteristic, and you could also see through his body language how exhausted he was. And it was no surprise he'd be a little careless with the ball, enabling the Celtics to stay with him. However, Draymond was able to put them down for good in overtime, but it was clear how exhausted everyone was to get there. And this leads us to the next night, the second of a back-to-back on the road, something every team is wary of, and a difficult proposition even without playing a double overtime game the night before. The key for the Bucks was attacking the Warriors when they were most vulnerable, when Draymond Green and Steph Curry were both on the bench at the same time. Milwaukee hung an 18-3 run on the Warriors early in the second, and it started on a nifty 5-4 pick and roll at the foul line, getting great position for Henson to execute the nice lefty hook. The Bucks are a well-coached defensive team, and when the Warriors try to run the hammer play with Spates back screening Vaughn, he spins right out of it and his long arms bother the shot. However, because it was such a bad miss, the Warriors grabbed the offensive rebound. The clock is still ticking though, and here's more great defense by Vaughn, stopping the Iguodala drive. And when Giannis closes out on the much smaller Barbosa, he's forced to pump fake into a shot clock violation. And Giannis is just a matchup nightmare as a small forward. There isn't much Iguodala can do to contest this shot when he's giving up 4 or 5 inches. The Warriors try to run a drag screen, but notice their spacing. There is no one out top as a safety, and when Ezeli lets the ball go through his hands, it's off to the races with a 4-on-1 fast break, and the Bucks are extending their lead. The Bucks run a slight adjustment on the play we showed you earlier, having Giannis cut up from the block to receive the pass like in zipper, then get a ball screen to his right. Terrific defense by Klay to force Giannis away from the screen. Good read by the offense to flow back into a rescreen, and this time they catch the Warriors drifting to the ball, and Henson gets a sliver of daylight for the jump hook. The Warriors make another mistake by double teaming the rebounder after they miss. By not having either of their big men back, it allows the Bucks to outlet the ball and attack the paint. Giannis gets his freak on with those long steps and gets the free throws. The Bucks must lead the league in running high post splits, and it's a fantastic action even though it's pretty simple. Watch how the Giannis screen forces a switch and gets him great low post position, and the jab step pull-up gets him a good look with Klay giving him at least 4 inches. The Bucks go down to Giannis in the post, and Iguodala is doing a good job to contest, but watch Draymond as soon the shot is going up. Nice find by the Greek Freak to find Jabari Parker wide open along the baseline. Monroe does his part to slow up Draymond, and the Bucks build their lead. Well, so there you have it, sports fans. If you want to watch the full breakdown, please head over to our website and watch it there. If you're in Europe or outside the US, just wait a minute and a half. It will clear up and play smoothly for you with high quality. It just takes a few minutes, like a minute or so to buffer. And our mobile app is coming out very soon. That will take care of all these issues because you can download that, get our articles, get our videos all in one spot. So please don't miss out on that in the next week or so stay tuned. And as far as that happens, I think the Warriors can go on another streak. Why not? They seem hell-bent on trying to beat that 72-win record that the Bulls made, and it's hard to imagine that they wouldn't threaten it at the very least. But keep your eye out for the lineups when they want to try and get rest for both Steph Curry and Draymond Green at the same time. It is the opportunity for most teams to hit them and hit them hard. If they can get enough separation, then it makes it that much harder for Steph and Draymond to get back in the game, which they can do, but that's the moment you got to hit them and hit them hard. Well, thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. Lots more for a lot of stuff coming up as we go into the end of the year. And don't forget our friends over at Game Time and the Game Time app, and use our code COACH. And don't forget, at BBallBreakdown, not a channel, we're a conversation. You in?